Hey, how's it going, guys? In this video, I want to talk about automating Excel using Python. So this video is going to be emphasized on using Win32com library. If you have never heard of Win32com library, basically Win32com library is a Windows operation specific library. And it's also one of my favorite library when it comes to automating different Office applications, such as Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Outlook, Word, sometimes even PowerPoints. So basically any applications that supports COM-Object. And like I said, unfortunately, this library is only available for Windows operation. And if someone who likes to automating different Excel work, and you're using Mac OS or Linux, then unfortunately you will have to use some other libraries such as Pandas or Excel writers, those type libraries, to automate different Excel tasks. So the Win32com library is basically a subset of PyWin32, and this Python extension is for Windows, provides access to much of the Win32 API. Now I want to talk about the pros and cons. So the cons is this library is only for Windows, and there are not that many documentation resources available. And the syntax is very much like VBA or VB.NET. So if you are coming from writing VBA or VB.NET, then learning Win32com library will be much easier for you. Now I want to talk about the pros. Using the Win32com library, we can access the entire object model of an application. Unlike other Excel wrappers, such as Excel Writer or Pandas, those libraries only gives you a limited access to the object models. And unlike Pandas, Excel writers, which you cannot directly interact with the Excel application, using Win32com, we can directly interact with the Excel application. Alright, so now let's go to item number 2, which is to install the library. Here, let me launch my command prompt. So to install the library, you can use the command pip install pywin32. And since I already have the library installed, so I'm getting the requirement already satisfied message. In this video, I'll show you 4 different examples: how to create a new Excel file, write some data, read some data, and finally we'll save the Excel file. Alright, so let me start by increase my font size. Now I'll create a blank Python script. I'm going to name my script demo.py. And to import the library, here I'm going to type import win32com.client. I'm going to name the library as win32. So first, we need to construct the application instance we want to use. I'm going to name the Excel application instance as Excel app. And from Win32 library, I want to reference the dispatch class. Inside the class, we'll provide the application name. For Excel, it's going to be excel.application. And if you want to automate different applications together, such as PowerPoint, Microsoft Word, Outlook, then you can create multiple instances and just give them a different name. Inside the dispatch class, you just need to change the application name. So for Outlook, it's going to be outlook.application. And for Microsoft Word, it's going to be word.application. And for this video, we're going to focus on Microsoft Excel. Now I'm going to run these 2 lines individually. And let me move the panel to the right. Oh, here, let me do this. I'll put this on the left. Right, so we have created the Excel application instance. Now if I use the div function to print the attributes and methods, as you can see that we're not getting very many useful information. And if I use the fast function to print all the dictionary values, it's going to return, let's see, It's going to give you a bunch random stuff, and such as this username is Excel application OLE object, which is a PyDispatch object, and we'll ignore everything for now. So when you use Win32 or Win32 library to automating different Windows-related tasks or application, you need to kind of like shift your the way how you think a little bit differently. So at this point, you're not actually writing Python code. You're actually writing Python/VBA code, VBA.NET code. So if we go to, so if we do a Google search, and if we search for Excel VBA, and want to look for the documentation from Microsoft website. Here, let me do this. Let me go to Excel, and here's the entire Excel object models. So that means that at this point, you can access every single object that you see here under the Excel application. So let's display the Excel application first. So from Excel application instance, there's an attribute called visible, and it will set the application visibility. I'm going to set the visibility to true. Now if I run line number 4, and it's going to launch my Excel application. Let me put a panel on the bottom. That way I'll have more room to interact with the Excel application. So at this point, everything you do in Python is going to directly apply to this Excel application. So if you want to see the result in real time, then you'll be able to do that using the Win32 library. So here I'm going to create a new Excel workbook. I'll take the Excel application instance, .workbooks, .add. I'll save the output as WB. Now if I run line number 9, and here is going to create a new instance of Excel workbook. And because we saved the workbook object or reference to this WB object, so if I print wb.name, it's going to give me the file name, or wb.for file path. Let's see. Right, let's go back to the documentation, and let's search for file path. For file, or should be for path. So WB for path. Let me say, give me a second. Oh, it should be for name on the Excel. Right. So if we use the attribute for name, and it's going to give me the Excel file name. And because I haven't saved the Excel file, so let me save the Excel file now. And we can do that using the save as method. And I'll save the file under my working directory. And one thing with using Win32 is that because you are using Windows API, so we need to provide the full file path. I'm going to import the OS module. I'm going to concatenate the working directory followed by a file name. And let's name this file test.xlsx. Now I'll run line 11. And there's no, cwd. Right, and that's going to save the Excel file in my working directory. And this time if I print the full name attribute, it's going to give me the full file path of this file. Now I have done item 3.1 and 3.4. Now we're going to do item 3.2 and 3.3. So we're going to write some data to the Excel spreadsheet. And to do that, we need to reference this Sheet 1 tab. So I'll create a new object. I'll name this object WS Sheet 1. And from WB object, I want to reference this Sheet 1 worksheet using the worksheet method. I'll provide the worksheet name. Now if I reference the WS Sheet 1 object dot name, it's going to print the worksheet name. I can also change the worksheet name by reassigning the name attribute value. And let's name this worksheet dummy data testing. And here my tab name got updated to dummy data test. So as you can see that unlike using other Excel wrappers, you'll be able to visually see the result directly. You don't have to close the file or open the file to see the result. Alright, so this is going to be item number 2. So write data to Excel. So in Excel, there are 2 ways you can write data to an Excel spreadsheet. The first method is using the sales method. And this method takes 2 parameters, row index and column index. So here, let me insert that here. So row index, column index. And the second method is using the range method. Using the range method, we can reference a cell by inserting the cell reference address, such as A1, A1 to B5, and so on. I'll show you both methods. So let's do the sales method first. So I'll reference the WS Sheet 1 object dot sales. Assuming that I want to write something to here, let me zoom in. I want to write something in cell, let's do B5. In Excel object reference, the array base actually starts from 1. So we can reference row number 5 by simply insert 5. And to reference column B, we can either insert 2 or the letter B. Here, let me do both. And it's going to be C5. So C5 is going to be this cell dot value. In cell B5, I'll write cell B5. In cell C5, I will type cell C5. Now I can run these 2 lines, and they'll insert cell B5 and cell C5 in both cells. Now let's use the range method. So with range method, we can directly insert the cell reference address as a string. So this time I want to insert data from in cell D5. So I'll type D5 as a string dot value. I'll type cell D5. I'll run line 26, and here's the new value. What happens if I want to insert an array of data values? So let's say I want to insert some data from A1 to E5. There are 2 approaches I use when I want to insert a list of values. So I want to insert value from A1 to E5. Oh, and let me show you how to delete cell contents. We can delete the entire cell content by referencing the cells attribute that clear contents. And this is the method we use to clear everything on Excel spreadsheet. Now I'm going to run line 29, and everything got cleared. This is going to be clear cells. And it's going to be write data to multiple cells or cell range. So approach number 1, we can use the range method, and we can type the cell reference that we want to insert the values. And here I'm going to type the cell reference from A1 to E5 dot value. I'm going to insert the string hello. And here's my table with the text hello. Now let me clear the content. And approach number 2 is a little bit more dynamic. So here we can reference the range method. Inside the range method, instead of writing the cell reference, I can use ws_1.cells. I can use this method to specify my cell range. So my beginning starting point is going to be row number 1 in the first column. And my destination is going to be row number 5 in the 5th column. Here let me use 5. So here's a typo. This should be ws_1 dot value. And I'll type hello. Now if I run this statement, and that's going to give me the same result. And usually I want to use this approach is when I have a loop that I want to insert a list of values. And that's for item 3.2. So writing some data to Excel spreadsheet. Now let's cover the last item, how to read data from Excel spreadsheet. So here let me insert some random values. Let me insert a value between 1 to 100. I'll convert the formula to regular values. And it's going to be read data. Alright, so assuming that I want to read each line individually from A1 to E1, then A2 to E2, and so on. So I'm going to insert a loop for I in range, and it's going to be 1 to 5. And I'm going to grab this statement right here. I'll put that inside the loop. And here I'm going to change the row index with the I variable. And the column index, I'm going to leave that as this, because these two statements is going to set the column dimension. And I'm going to remove the equal sign. And I'll wrap this statement with the print function. Now if I run this loop, and here's going to give me a tuple, a nest tuple actually. And this is going to be the first row, second row, third row, fourth row, and fifth row. Now I want to conclude this tutorial by closing this Excel file. So going back to the WB object, I can use the close method. Inside this close method, we have a parameter called save. And we can set the save value to false to not save the Excel file when we close the Excel workbook. I can run line 51 to close the Excel file. Alright, so this is everything I want to share in this video. Just a very quick tutorial showing you how we can use Win32Com library to automate different Excel tasks. And as always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video.